It's recording in progress. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. And we are here with another segment of Nehanda in the comment section. I don't know why it looks so big. Um, but tonight I want to get in the comment section again and address a couple of the comments that I received from the last couple of weeks. Shall we get into this? Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So here we have some of the comments from this week and the past couple of weeks. Now, I had a young lady who shared a video with me. I'm going to play some of the video later on, but I just want to talk a little bit about some of the videos that I posted up. I hope y'all can hear me okay. These comments here are from the past. Let's see. I have a few new comments I think I want to address. And I'm going to set the table for these comments. I'm glad you had the confidence to tackle this tough topic. You're a lot more strong-minded than I thought. Thank you. Shout out to Randy Melendez for giving me this comment. I really appreciate you. I think I'm going to like that. I thought I liked it, but I guess I didn't. Sherry Town, I hated the show for a reason. This was in response to the Being Mary Jane syndrome. Seems to be one of the more popular episodes that I've done. I try to watch a number of Black women shows and dislike much of them because they have Black women doing unnecessary things in response to trouble situations. In many cases, these women create their own horrific situations. Life can be far more simple than it's made out to be. I realize that simplicity doesn't make for an interesting show. Still, I can't relate to any of the characters, and the scenarios are not getting better. They're actually getting worse. I am going to heart this comment, and I agree with this comment here. This is kind of the reason why I brought it up, because one of the things that I find is very, very troubling about Being Mary Jane and Girlfriends and Joan from Girlfriends is that it creates a narrative that people not only can identify with, but it also portrays Black women in a light that is very, very unfavorable and very unrealistic. I call it the Disney delusion, where you think that after you've done all of the things, first of all, like I talk about this in my Being Mary Jane syndrome segment, or three-part series, so I'm not going to get into that. If you all want to check out the video for yourself, you can. But one of the things that really struck me, as I'm going to segue into how we learn ways of being and how programming is done, there is definitely a certain level of cognitive dissonance, which I'm not going to get into in this video because that's going to be for next week. But this takes place where people have a set of programming and reassurance of life being portrayed in a certain way, and they act out these ways of being because that's what they see. This is where we get our programming from. And unfortunately, fortunately, I was talking to my mom about this topic last night. Unfortunately, I will not be able to upload that because there was some audio problems, but we talked about how we get where and how we get our programming as a society. And the society used to get their programming from families and communities, and we no longer have that now. And this is why some of these shows not only dominate television, but they dominate our lives. I'm going to give you a very typical example. It's in alignment with our current topic that we talked about last week, which was mothers and maternity mortality rate in America. And one of the really weird and really disturbing things about the Being Mary Jane finale, which is something I'm going to get into more, was how she just had an emergency C-section and then she was back at her job. Like, when I see things like that in the writing of a show, I'm very deeply concerned about the messaging behind that simple thing in the show. And I'm going to talk more about that in my other video. I'm not going to get into that in this one. But that was just something that really, really rubbed me the wrong way, if you don't mind me saying. Now, here is one about the divesters. Are Black women leaving the Black communities? I think upper class women tend to date outside, but low class never date outside unless they with a Mexican, mostly in the Los in the Las Vegas area. I am not entirely familiar with the exact specifics of this statement, so I am just going to throw it out there and ask you guys to comment on in the comment section on this particular thing. What do you guys think? Is it strictly that when women are more cultured, they tend to be more open-minded? I did a video called Swirlers Beware, and I did this video because when I started dating outside my race, I was encountering other Black women who were doing the same thing, but for different reasons. So they had a reason why they were dating outside. I was just being more open minded and more, curious, I suppose. But these women were very specific that they were attracted to money, power, and mixed babies. I really hate to be baseline like that, but I want the baby with the green eyes and the blue eyes, nice hair, a little bit lighter complexion. And they were very open about wanting those genes to mix with themselves so that their kids wouldn't have to go through a harder life than they did when they were younger. And there are some people who actually think and believe like that. And I was also meeting a lot of Black women specifically who do not date Black men. Like they say that out loud in public, like for everyone else to hear. And I think that it's cool and okay to say those things. I'm not the one, baby girl. You will not find me. No, I am. I no. That's, and it's not because there's a sense of betrayal or like capping or none of that. It's just that there is beauty in all kinds of people, and I don't exclude people like that because I don't think that those things are I think that those things are making generalizations about a whole people, regardless of where you're coming from, but you're making a gross generalization and a prejudice based on merit of your experience and your encounters. That does not represent the entire race of people. That's just your experience. And when people make certain kind of statements like that, it comes across as extremely ignorant to me, and I want no part of it. But I have heard women say things like that. And so that's been my anecdotal experience, but I'm not entirely sure how many other people fall into such a category. More than 85, excuse me, more than 85% want Black women. 85% of whom, I assume you're talking about Black men, want Black women. Only 85% are married actually to one. That to me is still a pretty high number as opposed to what's being portrayed. Again, the way things are being portrayed in media is like Black men are going off in the throes to marry white women and other women, but it's not actually like that. And so to me, only 85%, it's not like, oh, that's not a small number. That's quite a large number. And I think that, it should be given credit where credit is due. It's probably more like 95% would prefer to find someone in their Black community with the same values and mindset. Values and mindset, I don't know, one of the things that I found about the whole divesting movement is that people have a very clear understanding, and there's a misconception that people who swirl or women who are dating outside their race automatically don't feel vested in their communities. But I think that women who date outside or who are more open to being with other people from other cultures is that we understand. I won't say we because I live in Germany and approximation makes it difficult, but people understand in certain circles that not everything that's Black loves Black people. And it's very unfortunate, but we have a long history of people pushing their agendas who look like us and using in the name of activism and awareness. And we're the ones that end up suffering because people are trying to come up on a dollar or trying to come up with some fame and attention. And they're using, bless you, they're using the name of the movement to push those agendas, but those agendas that they're pushing do not necessarily benefit us as a people. And so I'm very aware and very conscious about how I associate myself with other people of Black African descent, because the feeling is not always neutral about what is pro-Black in terms of the Black family. And that's what I am conscious and supportive of, the Black family and the Black communities, while other people are just promoting feminism maybe, or maybe they're promoting just Black power, which is something that I'm not going to be discussing on my channel at all. But this is something that I kind of talked about a little bit with the hip hop movement, and what are some of the things that were as a result of that movement, and how it became such a part of global culture, but we don't actually directly benefit from it. And we should. And this is one of the key issues when it comes to how culture is presented and how we are appropriated in our communities. And so the numbers may lie, but I like the point of this comment. I think it makes a really good point. Now, in the comment section here, we usually take an argument and we pick at it a little bit more. I will not be able to get to all of the comments. I know that there are a lot of comments here that are being written, and sometimes I don't actually get to them because they don't show up. I do have one. Yeah, she wrote me another comment, and as you can see, it's not always coming up as it's being written, but I will try to get back to everyone as possible. If you need me to, I will leave my email address in the description box, so you can contact me directly if you find that I haven't reviewed your comment and you'd like me to, or you would like me to get more into another topic that that I have gotten to in this session. All right, so here we're going to play a video. This is from so shout out to one of I was looking for this person, Rennie D. I was trying to find her. She commented with this video inside the comment section somewhere, and I just stumbled upon it, and now I can't find her or him, whoever it was. I just cannot find. I can't remember where exactly she put it or he put it, but I will try to tag them in this video because I saw it and I responded to it, and this is the video. So before I get into this video is called "We Are in the Fine Out Season of Life. XYs or men are eating from the gardens they've cultivated." Now, before I get into this topic, because the person who commented in one of my videos had also commented about cheating and had asked me if I would tolerate cheating. And I want to talk about this in the context of the male-female dynamic and experience, because there seems to be a lot of misconceptions when it comes to what men's roles are and what a woman's role is when it comes to community and family. And somewhere along the lines, there seems to be a real disconnect between what women's roles are and what women think men's roles are. And apparently that is a huge part as to why a lot of Black families are no longer functioning. And I say that because apparently when I talked about Jim Crow and how many marriages were working out in the past versus how many marriages are working out now, that came up. Like, men back then were allowed to get away with way more than they're getting away with now. I'm going to say something about that, and a lot of women may not like what I have to say, because I know 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, if you told me this, I would just be like, then I'm out. I'm not trying to be married because that's not the life for me. That's one thing I cannot put up with. Specifically to cheating, this is not something that is understood very in depth by women, but women tend to think that men are supposed to have a certain level of loyalty to them that is just not in their nature, in direct proximity to what they are capable to get. I'm going to say it a little bit more crass. You can have as many women as you can afford. That is the mindset of the man. Now, not every man who is in a position, and I know people are just going to skip over this and not hear that and just focus on the first statement, but not every man, because he should be of good sound mind and realization that when you do something like that, there's always a possibility that your wife is going to lose her shit and you're going to lose everything along with her, and he does not want that. So that is the one and only reason that he won't act on those actions. And the higher up on the food chain your man is, and this is the catch-22, okay, ladies? So take a deep breath, take a sip of your tea, and know that the higher up a man is on the food chain, the more easier access he has to women. When you want a man that is of that knows how to control his temper, that is of good social standing, that has great credit, that has a lot of money, that is good looking, that is tall, that is well educated, well cultured, well spoken, that's already like really 9 things that I can think of that are just the baseline foundation for a man. Fit, in complete control of himself, and is someone that other men and people admire and adhere to. Baby girl, if you want a man like that, you need to get a number, get in line. Okay, just get a number and get in line. And I don't think that women really understand how hard the competition is for these kinds of men across the board. We're not just talking black, white, indifferent. We're talking across the board. These men are in high demand. And why are they in high demand? Because it's always been that way. And the way it used to work was that you had your wife because that was the woman that you had your life with, and she was the one who was the executor of your estate and the one you entrusted certain responsibilities to and nobody else can do. And then maybe you might have a side chick if you had time. A lot of men in this position, oh, Nehanda, do you know? Yes, I know. A lot of men in this position don't have that kind of time. And that's the other side, is that if you want somebody who is going to be there for you and raise your kids, let me not get into all of the things that, that was being said. But if you want somebody like that, you're actually talking about having a second mother in the home, because those men traditionally want women who are going to do all of those things and not be concerned and worried about you're working too much, or you trust me, been there, done that, don't need a t-shirt. I was one of those women who was definitely, you need to be home more, you need to do more. I used to be a single mother, and I was a part of a major company at one point. And that company was extremely demanding of my time and my energy and my creativity. That meant I had to be away. That meant I had to work long hours. That meant I had to show up and compete with other men. That means that I had to be, on my game all the time and be very aggressive. And then I had to come home and do the mommy thing. And once I was blessed to find a husband and concentrate on one or two of those things, either be corporate or be a housewife and a mother, I could be so much better at being a mother because I didn't have to divide myself into those 2 places. Why would I then ask my husband to be me, come home from his job and cook, clean, take care of the kids? Why would I do that? That's selfish and mean. And the fact that women expect men to be like that and still be on top of their game and still expect them to be high value is crazy to me. It means that we are so far disconnected for the concept of what marriage looks like, is that we don't have any understanding as to what it is our roles are. We are completely disconnected. So I'm going to play some of this video, and then I'm going to comment on that with some research that I've done on this topic a long time ago, and I'm just going to reiterate that. So let me stop talking and just let you listen. It's just going to load a little bit.
How to pronounce his first name, I will just call him Dr. Emma. He is coming out of Uganda. This tweet was emailed to me. This is what Dr. Emma says. He says, I have worked on old men in their 70s and women in their 70s. Most men in their 70s I have seen coming to the hospital are always alone, forgotten, and sad. Be it poor or rich, most of them are always without anyone to take care of them. The truth is, men die alone, and it's sad. Old women, on the other hand, will be escorted by over 3 caretakers, daughters, sons, grandsons, and granddaughters. even on just outpatient visits. This old man came in for surgery only with his belongings. We had to probe until a daughter came around. And if you give birth to only boys, it's worse. The providers is global. So, like I said, this is a man, and this doctor.
So this is really, really sad, and this sounds really, really bad. But this is Uganda, and this is something that I'm failing to see and recognize as a point that comes across into the West as relevant. And the reason why we need to be very careful when we take these anecdotes and apply them to our lives is because even though we are pretty much the same person, or we experience moderately the same kind of life. We want to be loved, we want to be revered, we want to be accepted and cared for. There are certain intricate dynamics that dictate how we as people live based on our circumstances. And the circumstances of individual African countries are extremely different from the West, because in Uganda, it's predominantly Muslim, I think, and that has its own dynamic as it pertains to people's outlook as to what men and women are supposed to and not supposed to do. And I really wish that she would have alluded a little bit, or at least done a little bit more research as to what those cultural dynamics are, because they definitely impact how you view the statistics. And when you're doing research, that's something that you have to be very responsible about doing. She alluded to some other statistics and some other tweets that she had read somewhere about how men are the ones who are the most mean and abusive and cheating on their partners in some nursing home. But that was just another anecdote. None of these people here are sharing any statistics to say, okay, she makes a comment like men are dying alone more than women. Okay, show me where you read that. Show me where you saw that. I watched this video, and there is no way in any of this that we see this person point that out. Let's move on. It's going to take a while to load. I wanted to.
Is sympathetic to the men, but these people don't listen to the women, not even the doctors. They are supposedly the logical ones and still can't put together 1 + 1 is 2. They do not understand that you have got to pour into your relationships. Even when women up and down, sideways, all across social media are telling men, y'all need to do better with your relationships, they still don't want to listen. So this man says, I say this every day. As a man, you will never be loved. Just live happily, be responsible, take care of them, but expect less from those you call my family. Save some money for yourself alone. So they are still not listening. They don't believe in pouring into their family. Women, girls, we are socialized early on to be caretakers. The men simply think that being a provider is enough. They think, and a lot of these people don't care about the fact that they cheat. They don't speak life and love into their relationships. They simply think that going to work is enough.
Okay, I want to stop there because she kind of goes along those lines for pretty much the rest of the video, while saying a few other things that I found extremely interesting, because they're not entirely accurate in their entirety, but this is how women feel. And this is a little bit of part of what men are dealing with. How do you as a man pour into your relationship when men are only valued as utility? You want to tell me that if a man just stayed home and took care of his kids, didn't work, didn't bring home a paycheck, didn't pay his child support, that he would still be valued? Let's not cap. Let's be serious. In our communities, we value, as women from our men, we value looks, utility. What utility means, what can you bring? What can you give me? How much money do you make? How much accolades do you make? How good are you in the bedroom? Are you a good sleeper? Do you snore? These are the things that women speak openly about all the time. We don't talk about having good character and having being a God-fearing person or being spiritually inclined. We don't talk about those things being important. And show me the statistics that show me otherwise. And I will be humble to say I was wrong. Because as far as I know, from what I have read and heard from women, this is not what women value. Women want the man that is making the most money. And I'm talking about Black African communities in the US and other in the Western world. They value men who bring home the bread by any means necessary. And there might be, to a lesser degree, less of that struggle of mentality and expectation that, okay, maybe he doesn't have to be a rapper or a basketball player. Maybe he can just be like a doctor or a lawyer or own an electrical company or be like a mechanic or something and just have a decent normal life. And that'll be acceptable. For most of us, that's not acceptable. And let's not lie here and sit here and say that that's not enough, that that's going to be enough for us, because we know that that's not true. The other thing that I want to talk about, because we talk about pouring into your relationships. Wow. Yeah, I just want y'all to sit with that and comment on that down below if you feel like I'm talking stupidness, if you disagree with me. Yeah, if a man just stayed home and I went out to work, I would be cool as long as he was there and present and not cheat on me, then that would be fine. I wouldn't be worried about anything else. Like, let me know down in the comment section down below if you agree with her or not. The other thing is that there is how do I say this politely? So women who have a void in their souls and hearts tend to attract men who, okay, so men have discovered a way to give women what they want so that they can get what they want. And they usually do this by a level of deception that is telling a woman or trying to pretend to be someone that they're not. A pretender is someone that can get away with a lot, and they're usually playing into a game of observation. For some men, this is very symptomatic of his own void and emptiness within himself that he hasn't actually come to terms with. And for other men, it's just something that they kind of do until they're copped and called into account to not do it anymore. But I once read a few articles about the amount of men who are able to do this kind of thing, and it's only about 30%. Now, here's a catch-22 again. 30% of men can do this, and they practice the same kind of behavioral being with every single woman. So let's take a scenario, right? A man is walking down the street, he sees 50 women, and he goes to every single woman, and he's, oh, baby, you're so sweet. Oh, baby, you're so fine. And he does this 50 times because he has no level of personal commitment to women to say to himself that I'm looking for a long-term partner. And there's some seriousness in what I'm doing because it has serious ramifications and consequences. He's just doing this for fun. A man that can do this is usually what we call in the business a player, right? And he plays. The relationships are a game for him. 30% of men can do this, and that's why 30% of men father about 85% of the children. I don't know what the exact statistics, but it's a majority of the children that are fathered in the Black African communities are fathered by only 30% of the men, because this is the attitude towards relationships. The other majority of men, let's take another 10% and say that those are the ones who are pitching for the other team, or not pitching for the other team, right? So pitching for the other, what, they're into same-sex relationships, so they don't count. So now you have 60% of men who are eligible, all right? I know people are going to come at me for like incarceration, unemployment, but that's not what we're concerned with, right? We just want men who are present, right? We just want the men who can be present. We're not talking about how fine he is, how short he is, how tall he is, how much money he got. He just got to be present. I'll go work, just be a dad. Just pour into your relationships. How many women, don't cap, ladies, no capping in the comment section, how many of you would take that 60% and work with him? Work with Hotep, you know, work with Bob, work with Tyrone, Work with Jamal. Work with him. Why would we not do that? We wouldn't do that because we see men as utility. And I think that there needs to be real conversations about this concept of utility, because we don't come from, if you are a woman of a particular age, we don't come from anything else. And if you had a dad in the home, their chances are very high that he did not learn how to pour into his relationships. He taught you how to open a bank account. He vetted men when they came to your house. He protected you at a distance. He made sure your dresses weren't too short and that you weren't out too late. That was it. He could tell you if the guy was trying to play you or had a plan for you. And that was it. More than that, I don't really know, because like I said, I didn't have a father in my home, and I have to acknowledge that all the time in my relationship, because that is me owning my baggage. And when you can't own your baggage, that void is forever open to the people, and the men who will take advantage of that, because you are attracting into your space matching energies with people who are also broken and hurting. They can speak to your brokenness and your hurt because they know it. They are a part of it. They understand it. But men are opportunistic. And so it is up to a woman to own her discerning powers, to learn how to not be mystified, even if you were so desperate for love and attention, because remember, there's a big void there, and that you're desperate to fill that void with anything. You don't even consider standards, because standards are not important. What's important is that this void gets filled. I don't care how, I don't care with whom, it just gets filled. And when it does get broken, we are like, how did this happen? He lied, he cheated. Yes, he did. But a woman who has a level of self-awareness and a woman who can discern is a woman that is self-aware. And I talk about this is like my mantra, like you've got to know how to do this, because you will avoid so much more drama and stupidness if you can learn how to do that. And I wish that maybe some of these shows can maybe start to talk a little bit more that, yeah, still add the drama and the flair, like why am I making these mistakes all the time? Oh, and show what discernment and self-awareness looks like. Oh, we don't want people to start talking about accountability, because then when you start to talk about accountability, then you realize that I have a choice in the decisions that I make, and I'm in control, and I can then vote with my dollars and vote for something else. Why would I do that? Why would I want to tell myself that I'm enough, I'm whole, and there is someone out there for me that would love me because I am worthy of love? Why would I say that? No, that's not going to sell. So y'all think that I'm not here to help you. Y'all think that I'm here because I don't like you. No, I really want to see more of us win. And so once we are able to do that, then the 60% can possibly even turn into 70%, because you know what? Men are going to start looking around and be like, hey, we can't do it like we used to. We can't play these games like we used to. Women are starting to really look at us like we're looking to you to be who you're supposed to be. We don't want that chucking and jiving. We don't want that swag. We want real men. And maybe men will start to step up more and try to be that guy. But he's not going to by you saying that he is a utility. And we have to first be honest about the fact that we only see men as utility. And you know what? If that's the case, that's okay. But please know that if a man is utility, then you are also an object to him. You cannot have it both ways. You're an object, he's an object, then y'all know y'all's roles in each other's experience, and that is what your relationship is about, and ain't nobody gonna be confused about where this is going. But it doesn't have depth. It does not fill the void, and you can be replaced at any time because the connections and the bonds are not real. I hope you guys have enjoyed this session. It's been quite long. I don't even know how long because I don't have a timer up on this computer, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it anyways. And of course, it's a beautiful Sunday night. Enjoy your life, enjoy the week. If you can, please make sure to stay safe and stay free.